Meanwhile, financial disclosures show the University of Pennsylvania paid President Biden nearly $1 million over 3 years, the payday for a professional residency. This as students there were shelling out tens of thousands of dollars for their tuitions. The White House won't say whether the president regrets taking all that cash or whether that money should have gone to helping financially struggling students. Meanwhile, Joe Scarborough placing the blame on the universities.
We're no longer going to let you get rich off the backs of poor students, middle-class students, and taxpayers. We need to say that to the universities that are actually putting out degrees that are worthless in subjects that are worthless, that are raking in millions and millions of dollars. And then you add the predatory lending rates on top of that, and it's just, the system is just a disaster.
Tammy Bruce, host of Get Tammy Bruce on Fox Nation, a Fox News contributor. Tammy, great to have you here.
Great to see you.
I know you look into a lot of matters like this, but listening to Joe Scarborough there, agree with his politics or not, I think that message resonates with a lot of folks in this country right now.
Well, what we don't hear a lot is the fact that most Americans do agree on the serious issues, on crime, on economics, on scams, right? No, nobody wants that. But he says it's a disaster, but only for some. It's not a disaster for the elite.
Right.
It has become almost like a holding pen. So Joe Biden gets plopped in there while they hold him until his next position as a mascot comes up. In this case, it happens to be president as opposed to vice president. So, but you've got to keep people relevant. Hillary can be in that same kind of situation. All of these individuals, Cuomo, et cetera, they find these places, get lots of money, and yes, in the meantime, students are going there. They're being offered degrees that, well, Harvard's offering this, or USC is offering this, or whomever. It must be serious, and it's taken seriously. But then they find out it's really not. But it's like a piece of paper. It's a key that allows you to get a job, but then you're not really even prepared to deliver on that job. Joe Biden is the perfect example of all of those problems.
Yeah.
He is not prepared to deliver in governance, when it comes to dealing with people, when it comes to economics, when it comes to honesty, because he's been part of the scheme for half a century.
$1 million over 3 years teaching no regular classes.
Right,
One might make the case that that's part of the problem. But you look at the massive amount of money that is going to these colleges, universities, and covering business as long as I have. You've heard Democrats for as long as I can remember crying out about these massive corporations not paying their fair share. So why aren't Democrats, why isn't this White House looking at the root of the problem and looking at these huge fees and huge tuition fees that they're charging these hardworking American families?
Because that's the entire point at this stage of the university, of this place from which they all spring. You're not supposed to be in government unless you've gone to an Ivy League university. You can't get that job unless you're at the right cocktail parties, unless you're at the right alumni association. If you don't have those contacts, that's how the doors are shut. So the average person, when you think about how do you get in Congress, how do you become an aide, how is it that you get these internships and then you become a senator or whatever it is you think you might want to do, there is a standard, and this is how they keep certain people out. You know, it was probably shocking when, with all that we disagree with, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, she was a bartender. She got in there with people just weren't looking because the elites were gazing at their navels, so they didn't notice that the squad showed up. That's the problem, is you take your eye off the ball. But we're looking at tens of billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of endowments at these universities. They're not paying taxes. This is money that sits there to maintain an establishment elite, and that it keeps other people out. You can't disrupt that, because then, God, who would get in the presidency next? At least with Trump, he was, a billionaire, so he was acceptable. But God forbid, should you have somebody, I don't know, like a Sarah Palin show up, a mom from Alaska. You can't have that if you decided to run for office. I went to USC, so it's a decent university, but I'm not of the same category that they would prefer. This nation survives on the categories of regular people, normal people, and the elites have gotten a bit too high on their own sense of themselves.
Meanwhile, President Biden and former President Obama often portrayed Tammy as BFFs, but a new report says their relationship was drama central. One claim says Obama thought Biden was condescending. and rambled on so much he once told an aide, "Shoot me now." Another that Biden refused to grovel to his predecessor and said, quote, "My manhood is not negotiable." The rift apparently went so far that Obama thought about replacing Biden with Hillary Clinton as his running mate in 2012. All eyes on a week from today when the duo will be back together for the Obama's official White House portrait unveiling. Intrigue.
Yeah, and Hillary, it's as though she's going to be better than Biden, right? These are all the same kinds of people. But Joe Biden was the old establishment. Barack Obama's the new establishment, right? Harvard, the law degree, being kind of moved along just like Joe Biden. Maybe Obama will be the next Joe Biden in 40 years. We just don't know. Hillary is of that same category. There's actually a lot of talent on the Democrat side, not necessarily on their recognized bench, but there are a lot of good Democrats out there. You could argue Kyrsten Sinema. We disagree with her, or even Joe Manchin, who's got some problems. But they also have limited themselves so much to their next best option would have been freaking Hillary. That's what tells you for Obama, he knows the problems. As a younger man, he knew what the problems were. We're experiencing it now. But one thing he didn't do, he didn't stop it. He knew what would happen with Joe Biden. He's allowed it to happen because Joe Biden is handleable. He'll do as he's told.
Well, we'll see what happens when they get back together. Tammy Bruce,
It'll be
great to have you
exciting.
here.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.